Welcome to the Mama Circle podcast with me, your host, Natalie K. Martin, but please call me Nat. This podcast is here to help you navigate the roller coaster that is motherhood, whether you've just given birth for the first time or if you're already deep into the thick of it. I'm going to share practical tools and tips for empowerment so you can regain your energy, enjoy your role as a mama, and feel good again. You'll also hear real stories, maybe a few tears, but hopefully a lot of laughter. So whether you are joining me on your 2 a.m. night feed, cooking dinner for your family, or if you're out and about running errands, I want to take this moment to remind you that you are doing big and important work. And in case nobody has already told you today, you've got this. This is a space for you to feel seen, heard, and supported. So if you're ready, then let's jump in. So hello and welcome. Today I'm going to share a little bit about me and my journey and why I decided to start this podcast. Before I get started, I should say I do swear here and there. So if you've got little ears who like to repeat things that they hear, then you might want to go and get some headphones. So I'm a mum to my son, Jackson. He is 16 months old. And let me tell you, these last 16 months, or actually longer if we want to include the pregnancy, they have been a trip. I'm someone who's, I used to feel very rooted in my purpose and my life pre-baby, and it has been a really big initiation and uprooting since giving birth to him. It's kind of been like being in a washing machine of emotions. And the day that I decided to start this podcast, oh wow, that was a day. I'd reached my absolute limit. Jackson was overtired. I was stressed. He was stressed. The dog was whining and clingy and getting all under my feet. And I'm trying to cook dinner in our small kitchen. And I just lost it. And I just screamed like, oh, I just can't take this anymore. Oh my God. In that moment, the mental load, it just felt like it was too much. And it was on top of already feeling out of sorts about my identity and my business and how to move forwards with it all. And honestly, I felt like a failure because I felt like I wasn't able to do it all. I didn't have the time I wanted for Jackson. I didn't have the time for myself, for my partner, for my business, for my friends, for my life. And it just felt like I was being pulled in loads of different directions. So I did some soul searching and I decided to completely refocus my attention on podcasting, essentially to rebrand. And it felt really natural because I've always shared. I've done it through blogging, I've done it through novels. I love podcasts. I have the FemPower podcast with my lovely friend Julieta Durante. And also I just feel like having spaces where we can listen and learn and share are really important, not just for moms, but in general, and especially for women. Becoming a mom has been probably one of the biggest identity shifting self-development journeys I've been on so far. And I've been really into the whole self-development thing probably for about a decade now. I remember back in 2016, I'd been living here in Germany. I live in Ulm between Stuttgart and Munich. And I remember I'd been here for about a year and I went for a job interview and I left feeling like I'd completely flunked it. And when I look back now, objectively, I should have just been really proud of myself. Like I did that whole interview in really crap German. But instead, I walked down the street afterwards, and I'm sure that some of you can relate to this. I started swearing to myself. I was telling myself I was stupid. How could I have made such stupid mistakes? I was useless. I was really calling myself all kinds of bad and horrible things. And I remember then stopping at a traffic light and just realizing, like, this is not okay. I felt really ashamed for speaking to myself like that because I would never speak to anyone else in that way. And that was a really big light bulb moment for me and kind of really helped me to delve deeper into self-development. And I've always been interested in the human mind. I don't have a degree, but if I did, it would definitely be in psychology. And so self-development really became a passion, especially working with the inner critic. And that's the part of me that had bitched at myself after the interview. And nowadays, I love my inner critic. She's been a very tough coach, but she's also a very powerful ally. And I will do an episode on how you can also work with your inner critic to get her on your side. But it was a real turning point for me. And I actually even got that job in German. So my inner critic was completely wrong. And at that time, I'd started teaching English yoga here. I was hosting retreats and giving workshops and publishing novels. And then I discovered menstrual cycle awareness, which was like a real missing link. And it gave me all the things I needed to be able to structure my life and my work with my natural rhythms. And I will also share about that as well, upcoming episode. But basically, life felt good and balanced. And we'd wanted a baby for a while. And honestly, when I look back with the benefit of knowing how hectic life is with a toddler now, I would go back and tell myself, girl, slow your life down a little bit and enjoy this time of it just being you. In 2022, I took a 12-month feminine sexual embodiment course, and I took a 9-month course with the Red School for their menstruality leadership program at the same time. I had a day job that was pushing me physically and mentally to the point where I would say for the first time ever, I really felt the edges of my mental capacity. And on top of that, I had this business that I was building. You know, I'd just been doing all the online yoga through the pandemic, and then coaching and social media creation and partnering with brands, and then having a dog and being a girlfriend and trying to maintain a social network. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And I'm sure that many of you have also been there, trying to juggle everything and kind of feeling like you're barely keeping things together. At the end of summer in 2022, we thankfully had a holiday, which was needed. We went to Croatia for 2 weeks. And I remember like afterwards feeling so spacious and balanced and good. And then with divine timing, I fell pregnant. And I'm pretty sure that actually it was a culmination of all the work that I'd been doing on myself and feeling spacious and making those intentional changes, looking for another job and everything else that actually allowed that to happen. And I might speak about that in a next episode as well. My pregnancy was really smooth. My birth was less so. My so-called natural birth ended with 2 epidurals and an emergency C-section, which meant having an unexpected recovery period because, you know, a C-section is a big deal. And I didn't expect that, but I also didn't expect what would happen over these next 16 months. I knew that motherhood would change me, but oof, it's something else when you're actually experiencing it in every fiber of your being. And alongside that, and you're a mum, so I'm sure you're going to resonate, feeling this love for this child that is like nothing else. He is my life. But oh my God, is it hard? Like the complete disruption to my life, the disassociation to my business, the changes in my relationships, the worry, the joy, the everything. It was basically like being untethered to everything that I thought I knew and had built. And all the things I hadn't dealt with before were now coming up front and center and biting me on my ass, including my tendency to overwork and valuing myself through my output and productivity. If you're into astrology, I'm a Taurus, and I really do have the capacity to bear a lot. But all of that is actually a double-edged sword because it means that for me personally, I often don't realize it when I've reached a limit. And now that I have a child, I've had to, and honestly, I still have to do some serious work on myself to reprogram that so I don't burn out. And honestly, that's why I wanted to bring this podcast into being, because I know I'm not alone in navigating these changes. And I want us as mums to regain our sense of balance and power and bring that into our lives as a whole. Everything that I've ever done, when I look back on it, whether it's my novels or teaching yoga or coaching or the menstrual cycle awareness, the red thread that underpins it all is empowering women to feel good about themselves despite the shit that life can throw in our way. And that is something that is relevant whether we are mothers or not. So that's why I decided to start the podcast. And now that you know that, I want to talk a little bit about what you can expect from the Mama Circle going forwards. My plan, my intention for this is to cover topics that are really relevant. So things like mum rage, perfectionism, setting boundaries, and also just ways to feel empowered. I want to share things with you from experts. I want to also have conversations with other mums so they can share their real stories. And, even if you're not a mum yourself, maybe you don't want to be, or maybe you're planning to later on, there are things that we will all share, right? Things like people pleasing, working with perfectionism, and navigating life as a woman. I would love this to be a collaborative space. So please do feel free to reach out to me via the social media channels, Instagram probably being the best one at natalie.kmartin, or here in the comments section. I would really love to hear what you're moving through, and what your challenges and wins are, because I really would love to end this kind of weird trend of perfectionism that's going on, because it only leads us to feel more shame and guilt for not being perfect. And on the theme of perfection, this podcast is not going to be perfect. I don't have a studio at my house. I have a dog and a toddler who will hopefully be at nursery when I'm recording this, but best laid plans and all of that. Honestly, my old behavior of like, I can only do X when X is perfect is something that I am really working hard to get rid of, because that is just not real life. This is real life. So please do not expect a perfectly polished podcast. And I really hope that that gives you the permission as well to not feel like you have to be perfect either. I know that perfectionism is something that we are very prone to as women and as mothers, and I cannot wait to get into that episode. So I'm really excited that you're here and excited to dive into this journey with you. Please do hit subscribe. That way you won't miss an episode, and it will also push this podcast out to more people. And if you know someone else who could benefit from hearing about the Mama Circle podcast, then please do send the link to them as well. I'm so excited. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you here for the next episode, which is going to be all about what kind of motherhood it is that you want to have. This is something that is, I think, really, really key to feeling fulfilled and getting rid of that P word, the perfectionism. So I'm looking forward to seeing you here for that episode. Bye.